Well, hello and welcome to the e-commerce podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmundson. Now, this is a show all about helping you deliver e-commerce wow. And to do that, I'm chatting with Alex Back from Couch. No, not Coach, Couch. Get the domain name right.
Couch? You're from a different country now, lad. Couch.com.
You get the right accent. That's pretty impressive, Alex, not going to lie. From Couch.com, we're going to be talking about his e-commerce journey. I'm going to read his bio in just a second, but you're going to want to grab your notebooks. But before you do, let me tell you, a warm welcome to you. If this is your first time with us, it's great that you're here. Love the fact we're getting new people every week joining us, and the show's getting bigger, which is a beautiful thing on so many levels. And if that's you, a warm welcome to you. Genuinely pleased that you're with us. If you haven't done so yet, check out the website, ecommercepodcast.net, where you can sign up for the newsletter which is evolving, dear listener. Yes, it is. If you want all the tips, tricks, all the notes, all the funky stuff from today's podcast coming straight to your inbox, sign up to the newsletter. And we're going to be adding a few more things in there, a few more tips and tricks for e-commerce. So you're definitely going to want to subscribe to that. Head over to ecommercepodcast.net where you can find out more information, because why would you not want to? Yes. Okay, so let's talk about Alex. Now, Alex is the visionary CEO and founder of Couch.com, the latest game changer in the quest for the perfect couch at unbeatable prices. With a track record of transforming the e-commerce furniture scene, Alex previously co-piloted Apartment 2B from its infancy to a whopping $40 million empire. Whopping. Oh yes. Now on with the insight and experience. Alex is tackling the age-old dilemma that has confounded many a comfy seeker far and wide. Where on earth do I score an awesome catch? So buckle up for a cozy ride. Grab your blanket, grab your cup of tea. Oh yes, because we're heading to Furniture Nirvana, because with Couch.com, finding your dream couch is no longer just a dream. Love that. That's one of the best intros we've had for a long time. Alex, welcome to the show, man. Great to have you. How you doing?
Best intro indeed. If they gave out Webby Awards for best intro to podcast, I think you should be on that nominations list, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I wish I could claim credit for that. I really do, but I can't. It's the team, the awesome team. So you are we were talking before we hit the record button, you're on the other side of the Atlantic, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm all the way on the Pacific. I live in Los Angeles, California,
where the weather is sunny and the weather is warm and the sun is shining and the night is setting here. So a warm welcome to you. Tell me, have you always been in LA? Were you sort of born and bred there, or were you an import?
Great question. Most people in LA are imports from other places. It is usually the entertainment business and or the sunshine, sometimes the surfing that brings people here. But I'm from New York City. So I had a big, two big cities, but a pretty big life change when I was younger. I've lived here for about 20 years and I've split my life in one place and the other, and very interesting places to be from. Brooklyn, New York, LA.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get any further away from New York and still stay in the continental United States, can you?
Yeah, somehow my parents haven't taken it personally yet, but I really think they should have. I mean, when you do the math, it is literally.
Yeah. I have two sons, both of which are currently at university. And one of them went to St Andrews, one of them went to Exeter. Now, I appreciate you might not know the geography of the British Isles, but I live in Liverpool, and you cannot get further away from Liverpool, really, further north than St Andrews, and you can't get any further away, really, south than Exeter. So I said to my boys, I'm not quite sure what it is you're trying to tell me, but I'm not that impressed, children. They just laughed at me.
Sometimes, Matt, you got to look in the mirror and figure out why certain things might be happening, I
guess. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'll ever find it out, if I'm honest with you. So, let's start with your journey with Apartment 2B, because you have exited that business. You obviously were involved in that as a startup. What is Apartment 2B for those that might not know? And lead me in that journey a little bit.
Absolutely. So Apartment 2B is still around today. It's a popular e-commerce direct-to-consumer furniture brand.
Hmm.
And we started at the time where independent furniture brands were not aplenty. In fact, in 2010, 2011, when we were turning the lights on, even some of the largest retail furniture brand in the world, IKEA, was
Yeah.
not yet doing any sort of
Right.
e-commerce transacting online. Their website existed as sort of like an online showroom. And that was very, very common back then because the biggest barrier to entry was sort of just to get people to buy
Yeah.
furniture online or make a large purchase. So we came a long way from then.
So let's talk about that then, because I mean, my e-commerce career started in 2002, and if I look at it, Alex, one of the things that I can consistently tell you is, I'm really good at selling small, repeatable products, right? Not couches, not furniture, tiny little things that fit in tiny little boxes. So you came along. It is a bit of a game changer. What caused you to sort of think, I don't know, let's go sell dining room tables and chairs online and see what happens?
Well, it's a pretty good story. My business partner and co-founder of Apartment 2B, he sort of grew up in the furniture industry, right? His
Right.
dad was a manufacturer sales rep, like a Willie Loman type, who's, on the road, calling on different accounts. And Matt ended up getting into the furniture industry after college. He ran a popular retail store here in LA, and then went and became a manufacturer sales rep, kind of like his old man. He was working for this old school, like big Bubba recliner company. In
Hmm.
fact, it was called Strata Lounger, and they were some of the first recliners that ever were, motion couches that had ever come to market before
Mm.
Lazy Boy. Um, and they were doing very well. He was selling a lot of couches in coastal California. That was his territory as a sales rep. And then he gets an email out of the blue. Someone wanted to open an online account. He's like, okay, well, that's interesting. He called up the factory in Mississippi
Hmm.
and asked them, hey, do you mind if I open up this online account? Do we have any online accounts? They're like, no, we don't have anybody. So go take a crack at it, son. So he goes out, he opens up this account, asks them what they needed to do so. He's like, well, would you like to, have an opening
Hmm.
order? They're like, well, no, we don't need any inventory. We just need images and, product detail on a spreadsheet. So he gives them the spreadsheet, he gives them the images. 2 days later, he wakes up to the first order. Three
Wow.
days later, he wakes up to 3 orders. 4 days later, 10 orders. And it just compounded from there, all
Hmm.
going one sofa here, one sofa there to different parts of the US.
Hmm.
That's when we realized there was a lot of opportunity to be had in this industry. And this was something that was really taken off. That entity, that online retailer, was called CSN Stores, which is now Wayfair.
Ah, okay. That
So
is
it
an
just
interesting
goes to
story.
show
Yeah,
how
yeah,
we felt like our finger was right on the pulse of something
yeah,
very
yeah,
big. That's pretty
yeah,
much all we had at the time. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, to be
yeah.
honest with you, but we figured it out.
Nah, so where did the name Apartment 2B come from?
Well, we were kind of searching for like a catchy name and that related to our original business model. We pivoted a number of times and, sort of for minor ways. We always just sold furniture, but demographic changed and the price point changed. But originally it was supposed to be like an apartment furnishing solution, right?
Hmm.
A whole home solution for everything you need for your apartment. We used to sell dishes, we used to sell towels, in addition to the furniture and all of
Yeah,
these sort of complete home packages. You
yeah, yeah.
could
The knickknacks.
choose knick-knack, paddywhack. No, yes, all the knickknacks and all the things you would need for your home,
Hmm.
we did for a few years. Inventoried some of it. We sold it. I shipped many boxes myself and packed. A lot of packing dishes is not a fun thing, Matt. I can tell
No,
you
no, I can
personal
imagine. Yeah.
personal experience. Anyway, so we did that for a while. It was for apartment living, and the idea was that sort of like a double entendre. Apartment 2B. It was like a place, this virtual place that
Hmm.
the store existed, and also your apartment that will be when you not the most ingenious business
No,
name,
it
but it was
works.
cute
It
and
works.
catchy, and it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. It works on so many levels. It works, which is great. So that was 2010, 2011, right? If I
Correct.
understand the date. So fast forward 13 years, you are now couch.com, which I have to say is probably one of the most amazing domain names out there. I can see that, being worth a few bob. But so what happened in the apartment 2B grew, you exited, and then you thought, well, let's get back in it and do couch.
Let's get back in it. Just gonna get back in and do couch.
Yeah, let's get back on that horse.
Let me back on that horse. I mean, that's basically what happened. No, really, it was. So yeah, we grew the company and we bootstrapped it for about 7 or 8 years, and we're approached by a mid-major retail chain here in the States that was looking to sort of beef up their online presence and understand e-commerce better and make an acquisition that would sort of benefit both parties. And it really worked. Like, we came in and had the operational infrastructure of a much larger company with 700 employees. We had at the time of acquisition probably under 20. And they benefited from us in many ways. I was in every executive team meeting for 4 years. We all learned a lot and we achieved a lot. And after 4 years of staying on as COO, it was time for me to move on. So I did, and I didn't want to do anything in furniture because customers, they're customers, and but I sort of had an epiphany, and it was on a trip I took to Norway. I was just sort of like walking the streets of Oslo by myself, solo trip, and I was thinking about couch.com, and something hit me that like, this is something that if I got this domain, I can make this into something much bigger and much more scalable than the world that I sort of had been in of just a singular direct-to-consumer brand. Now, this is a platform for the entire industry to benefit from, where the users can come and get education about where and how to buy a couch. This thing that, as you mentioned before, is not a repeatable purchase or regular purchase. It is something that happens over 5, 6, 7 years in between each purchase. So people are generally very, very undereducated about how to do this thing, how to buy the right couch for them. And on the other side, advertisers are just like clamoring to find these users because there's no regularity to it. Going to a place, it's hard to find where the usual suspects might be. And there's very little repeat business as well. So as advertisers, we're constantly acquiring new users, paying top dollar for them, and wasting a lot from an ROI perspective on marketing dollars that are not being allocated properly. So I'm intending to bring in the users that are looking for couches, and I'm intending for the advertisers of the industry, all the retailers like the ones that I used to run, to be very happy to have some very warm leads of people who are ready to put their butts in some couches.
In some couches. No, I love it. So this is what fascinates me here. I got a lot of questions for you, if I'm honest. Is you went down the traditional e-commerce route, right? Where you're buying product, you're selling product, you're selling it to customers online, direct to consumer, you're shipping it out, or you're using companies that do that. But in effect, I would call it traditional e-com, right? But what you've moved into now is not traditional like-for-like e-com. I mean, you're still in effect doing something online, but you've approached it in a slightly different way. And I'm curious to know why it's done in a different way. Why did you not just go, well, I'll buy couch.com because that's a brilliant domain and I'll put couches on it and flog them to end users again? I'm kind of curious what your thinking was in that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I believe the opportunity is not in creating another sort of competitive direct to consumer retailer that would go up against my former brand. I mean, I can certainly do that, and I have some tricks up my sleeve to probably make it successful. But it's a very crowded and competitive space. It also wasn't terribly interesting to me anymore because while I could come up with some sort of creative concept that maybe would have, got my juices flowing, and ultimately, I'd be sort of repeating the same model that
Yeah.
I had already done. So that just allowed me to think outside the box a little, right? Knowing that I didn't want to do the exact same thing. And then I just started like thinking. I probably made some lists and I listened to, I write notes everywhere. And I probably wrote some notes down about, how I can leverage my experience, my unique sort of positioning in this market. Understanding the user, understanding the manufacturing side of things, understanding large retailers, small retailers, online, brick and mortar,
Yeah.
and how do I bring it all together and what's really needed. And so, like I described, I think there truly is a huge opportunity here, and the industry, mostly on the industry side, like the industry and the retailers, there's very little branding in furniture. So it's really hard for customers to know where to buy stuff, and it's
Yeah.
hard for retailers to know how to market it. So to create a platform that brings all the retailers together, and if you come to me, I'm going to tell you which brands are the real deal and which ones aren't, which ones are a good deal for the price and which ones are overpriced. What are the best retailers that you should consider for that pink tufted couch that's going to be good for cats that you need in 2 days in your home? There's not a lot of retailers that could to serve
Yeah.
that specific need, but our intention in our marketplace and brand database that we're creating and putting together is to allow users to find those things more easily.
That's really intriguing. I'm kind of I I see the rise of marketplaces more and more. I think England is probably a little bit sheltered when it comes to marketplaces, unlike possibly Europe and the States, which are bigger. I mean, bigger landmass. Whereas England's just a tiny country. But I think that the rise of marketplaces fascinates me, and you've decided to sort of go down this road. And how do you do what you do in the sense of I'm imagining you're focusing much more on the content of the website and on getting advertisers for the site versus I'm thinking about, website optimization, for example. I'm assuming there are some subtle changes in your thinking that have had to occur.
Big time. So I think with a marketplace, a true marketplace where you're taking people's money and either connecting them with a retailer or covering some part of the transaction, um, that's a whole different beast, especially in furniture. There's so much logistics and customer care that goes behind a successful furniture transaction, and I've seen it happen being on the other side. We were involved in, you name a marketplace, I've had some experience with it. And in every case, if you take someone's money, you're going to be on the hook for that purchase, and you're going to have to focus a lot of your effort and resources on doing that. Case in point, in my company, by the end when I left, we were part of a much larger company, but the part that I managed directly had 40 employees, and about 34 of them were focused on customer care, operations, logistics. I had 5 or 6 people on product, merchandising, e-commerce, and marketing. Just to give you a sense, the percentage breakdown is so heavily weighted in the operational area. So I wanted to focus on what I think we can do best without getting, sort of blinded by the marketplace or e-commerce aspects of it. As much as those are very comfortable to me, I want to challenge us to do something better than what someone else is doing out there. And I know that we can do this better, which is focused on content, as you said, really doing a great job of user acquisition and organic user acquisition from a on-paid sources, and ultimately serving the customer best by having a laser focus on the industry and the best retailers, and not just like finding tricky ways to get them to convert on our site.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving the idea, and I'm fascinated. How long have you been doing Couch.com?
So right now, when we're recording this, it's the end of April. I acquired the domain back in July. I stood up what we have now, which is currently a WordPress site. that I basically built myself with a few friends and colleagues, and we have content up there. So for the last 6 to 9 months, we've been just like writing content, making videos, optimizing the content, doing a lot of SEO related tasks, a lot of backlinks, a lot of outreach, a lot of different tips and tricks to get us ranking with Google. That's been our main focus as I work with my tech partner to build the ultimate platform, which has, as you can tell from everything I've said about it, we have some, pretty scalable ideas and big scope concepts that we're trying to achieve. So it wasn't just like a Shopify theme and, turn the lights on type of situation.
Here we go. Yeah, no, fair. I'm curious, though, why WordPress? It's not a name I've heard for a while, actually, WordPress.
Only simply because this was a content-only site that we were standing up. We are moving it to the Shopify platform, actually, which when you talk to content marketers, they would say the same thing, that that's not a website, or excuse me, that's not a platform that they've heard of very much. So we're sort of in an identity shift in a way, certainly in the eyes of Google, as we move to a completely different platform and sort of self-identify more as a marketplace than a content site. But we are in the place now where, the WordPress was literally just to get content up and get it ranking, and it's working. We're ranking for a lot of very high value terms. That had we just waited to launch the ultimate platform, we wouldn't be doing. So I'm really happy that we got started when we did, as difficult as it has been to ride the wave and figure it all out. But we're in a good spot right now.
What I love, Alex, about what you're saying is that actually we just started, and we started to get some content on there, and we started to figure this out as we go along, because I think one of the things so many people do is they want to have all their ducks in a row before they launch, don't they? That this has got to be right, that's got to be right, this has got to be right. And I'm imagining, and correct me if I'm wrong, that over the last however many months, 8, 9 months this has been live, you've made an awful lot of sort of smaller pivots along the way to get to where you are now. Had you have waited until now, do you think the product would be as good as it is?
I love that question. I've listened, the last year, all I did when I left my last company, I took my shirt off. We're very similarly complex. I've never had a tan before in my life. I don't know. Have you had a tan before in your life?
I've had what they call the red tan. I get burnt very, very easily. Like
the red tan. Yeah. Obviously, me too.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, I'm getting a tan. All I did was play basketball outside, exercise, and listen to a million business books in my ear the whole day, and listen to probably hundreds of startup stories. Show me a startup who hasn't pivoted that's incredibly successful. I would be shocked because and some of the best ones are the ones that have remained nimble enough mentally to be able to make a shift when a shift is necessary. So approaching this business as an iterative process is, I think, like one of my superpowers right now. Like, I don't really care, Matt, how we get there. If this is going to hit first, if we're focused on brand reviews, I don't think that that's the essence of what the best value that we can offer. But if that's our quickest path to monetization right now, okay, let's focus on that for a few months, and then we can move on to the other stuff. I know that ultimately this concept is going to provide a lot of value. I'm not married to any one specific vision of Couch.com. In fact, I'm averse to it, really. I want it to be very iterative in nature.
Do you, if you don't mind me asking, when you exited Apartment 2B, I'm assuming that gave you a level of financial independence. And has that then given you a security maybe to play around with this a bit more that maybe you didn't have, say, for example, with Apartment 2B? I'm kind of curious where you are with that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. It costs a lot to stand outside without your shirt on playing basketball all day when you got 2 kids in private school. I've been bleeding money for the last year, my friend.
No doubt.
Add a divorce in the mix as well, and you can imagine things can be a bit tricky. However, yes, of course. And I think thinking about, thinking for a founder or someone in business to think about an exit as an opportunity to invest further in
Yeah.
themselves and their own careers and is a great way to think about it. I think everyone just like the default is you think about laying on the beach or buying a house somewhere, whatever. And then I talk to a lot of people who have just used this to get to the next level, much like any good investment. I mean, you start somewhere in the stock market and something hits, and then you could either cash out or you can reinvest it and keep going. And that's the path that I chose.
No, a very similar story. I've exited a few business, and each time you exit, you take that capital event, and I think you invest it into the next phase of you, really. And investing in yourself, I think, is always it's not always a safe bet, but I think it makes the most sense to me. And so, exactly what you said. And I am curious though, Alex, if we obviously get people listening to the show at very different places in their walk in their e-commerce journey. Some are just starting out, some are bootstrapping, some are $100 million companies, we know. So if you were doing what you're doing now, but you didn't have the money, you needed to pay the mortgage pretty soon, and you were working, your normal job, and this was a side hustle or whatever, what advice would you give yourself?
Well, there's a lot of advice I'd give myself. But the first thing I'm thinking about is because we just talked about it. I gave the example of, me sort of going after brand reviews right now, because that is the quickest path to monetization. Now, why is that the quickest path? Just a quick aside, it's because we're catching users or customers at the lower funnel part of their journey. When they're closing in, they're interested in a certain brand, they're researching it, and we're hitting them there. And then sort of capitalizing on that, influencing their purchase and taking a commission or performance-based revenue, advertising revenue as a result. But that's an example of doing something that I feel like okay about. I don't love this concept. Ultimately, I want to help people find where to buy couches. I don't want to help them, close a deal necessarily. So this is an example of, just, I wouldn't call it a pivot. It's just a focus on something that's the reality of the situation is I need to be revenue positive soon with this company. Not only for my own personal stake in the game, but also just to prove the concept that this is a business that can make money, that there is a model here that's worth continuing to invest in. So it's ultimately just a representative of accepting the reality of your situation, right? You may have some lofty goals. You may have the best, new wireless headphone. First thing came to my mind. But if you need to maybe, go a different route to cut corners in the beginning just to get to phase one, that doesn't mean you can't get to phase two, taking a completely different path than you thought. You don't have to achieve, your full scale idea or concept out of the gate. You could take baby steps. No one really cares. It's all about how you sell it to them in the future. No one's going to look back at every little thing you ever did. You got to support yourself. You got to stay healthy and mentally focused. So if you need to, go resell wireless headphones for a little while rather than creating your own, or maybe selling the ones that you think are the best ones that are not Apple AirPods out there, and that's your focus just to get on the map and make some money right away, great. If you need to go sell them on the street and spend 2 hours a day hawking them on the street, fine, even better. It's just, humbling yourself enough to know that you don't have to go for the big idea right away.
Yeah, no, I love that. Do you think that the path that you've gone down, where you're very focused on your content? A few years ago in ecom, the buzzword was content marketing. It sort of seems to have fizzled off slightly now. But if I was going to sell, say, wireless headphones, and one option is I could retail some other stuff. But if I guess I'm doing it as a side hustle and I don't need to make money this month, would it make sense for me to invest in a content marketing strategy where I am starting to put content out there in wireless headphones, knowing that there is going to be, 3-6 months before I really start to see an uplift in traffic?
That is a tough one. And I talked a lot about this with colleagues in e-commerce recently. When do you invest in SEO? content marketing or whatever you want to call it. When do you invest in organic? I think social media is a good example too. If you have a business that needs to make money quickly, when you know that you could go to paid advertising, you go to Meta or Google and probably like get something going for your business a little bit sooner, where is your time best spent? It's a double-edged sword. I think for me, if I had to do one thing differently early on in my former company, it would be I would triple down on SEO. Because of, mind you, hindsight is 2020. If I knew that we were, it's a beautiful thing. If I knew we were going to be around 13, 14, 15 years later, I'd be like, okay, this is a business that's going to last. If we invest now, we are literally going to, if we invest now in SEO hardcore, we are going to save so much money, millions of dollars in the future, millions we could have saved. Users that we were acquiring from a paid advertising platform where we could have just gotten them organically off of their Google search. We got beat on so many things. We were no slouches. We held our own from an SEO perspective, but that would be, for a long-term play, I think it's absolutely worth it. But in the short term, I think it's sort of like anything else. It's resource allocation, right? Yeah. Do I want to spend all of my time right now having awesome conversations with people like you? I do. That's what I want to do. But I probably should be doing other things too with my time. So it's all a balance of, I think, what you can spend your time on.
Fair enough. I was always told, when people ask me that question, when's the best time to invest in SEO, the answer was always 20 years ago. But if you can't do it 20 years ago, do it right now.
I love that.
It's always one of those, isn't it? What are some of the, I'm curious then, because there's been a bit of a seismic shift for you and getting into the content in the last 8-9 months. What's your top, 1, 2, 3 tips on SEO, things that you have discovered in the last few months learning about this and growing Couch.com?
Yeah, great question. I think a couple things. One, taking a fairly focused approach is way easier to do than doing sort of a blanketed, I call it spray and pray, approach. Like, for instance, in the furniture space, there are tons of keywords that have tons of search volume where users are searching for new couch, how to buy a sofa, how to clean my couch.
Yeah.
And when we started back in the summer, we were sort of going after each of them. We're throwing spaghetti at the wall and we're seeing what's stuck. And now it's quite clear what we're able to rank for and what we aren't. And now that we have a focused strategy, we're able to, get certain pages from, the number 8 spot up to number 3 for certain terms. We're focusing on single articles. And what that is overall, it is a vote of confidence for quality over quantity. And I think, honestly, that's the name of the game in SEO right now. Right. Having one article that's the best freaking article about cleaning your couch, or having the best freaking article about wireless headphones in the industry is better than writing 1,000 articles about wireless headphones and the adjacent keywords. I think doing something that's real, that is not AI, all the insider networks that I'm in, everybody's super against AI content right now, not just because of its current detectability, but also its future detectability. This is a major problem for Google that Google needs to solve, and it's just going to get tougher for AI to get through. So that's another thing. But ultimately, it's part of the same concept of quality over quantity is what everybody I'm listening to and talking to, that's what they're talking about right now.
That's and it's always been the case, I think. Well, I'm going to say it's always been the case. These things come and go in sort of fads and cycles, don't they? But do you use AI at all in your content creation? Do you use it as a start? Do you use it for idea generation? Or are you just literally, no, I'm going to research these keywords and I'm going to, me, myself, and I am going to put on my wireless headphones, listen to some music and create the best content?
Okay, we're definitely starting a wireless headphone business.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting ranked. We put the transcript on the website. We're getting ranked for wireless headphones. How to buy the best wireless headphones. How to buy the best wireless headphones for small ears. How to buy the best wireless headphones for big ears. I figure someone's going to find us.
The best wireless headphones to clean your ears, Matt.
I love that.
That's something we were discussing before we started recording. For
Yeah,
those
it's
That's definitely
bizarre
getting
as that
edited
sounds.
out. Anyway, okay. All right. We used AI a lot in our content creation. It's sort of as an extrapolation of doing keyword research, right?
Right.
Keyword research in and of itself is sort of a version of AI. You're saying, what are the people searching for the most? You're asking a question and getting quick answers to it. Okay. So now you have the terms that are most searched or the ones you want to focus on. Okay. Well, give me some information about this. I mean, I can go research it myself. I would say using AI to do research and compiling thoughts and ideas is probably pretty safe. I think everyone agrees on that. It's just when you don't really put any other thought or tie it together in a way that is actually useful for people. So that was really the litmus test for us. To be honest, most of the articles that we're ranking for are probably a little too AI heavy. And I think we may not have as long of a runway on some of those as I would hope.
Yeah.
And as I see a lot of our content, people in my part of the content industry right now, they're going back and making things better. You don't get just one chance and you're done.
Yeah.
You can go back in and mess with stuff. But ultimately, I think using AI as a tool to help you is great. But even the best content marketers who have made millions of dollars in these networking groups that I'm in, sort of gaming the system, they're afraid of this game right now. And they would rather sit there for 4 hours and write a really nice article with all the old school tactics and techniques than try to game the system by using AI to do it.
Yeah.
I have one really good idea, which I think other people have validated too. And you mentioned transcript before. I think doing this type of thing, like I have a lot of couch knowledge in my head, and I know a lot of people who know a lot about couches. So what I've been doing recently, I don't have a podcast per se yet, but I do have. I've been recording videos with people in my industry. I did one this morning with the CEO of a manufacturer. We had a great conversation. Get the transcript from that and ask AI to summarize that transcript of absolute real human material into something that is, a short synopsis. To me, I think that's safe so far, but nobody really knows. I hope that made some sense and was helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm intrigued where AI is going, especially in the light of all the Google changes around content. And I was just curious to get your thoughts. If I could circle back, maybe before we sort of round off here, Alex, because I'm aware of time enough. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface again with my questions. When you exited Department 2B, looking back, what's one piece of advice that you wish you'd had that you didn't have that would have maybe helped that process be a little bit better, smoother, more enjoyable?
I just couldn't get out of my own way. I want to do everything myself. And I think, people, and then everybody will give you the same advice. Like, you can't do it all yourself. You have to rely on others. You must delegate. We all know that. Like, even if you're not in business or e-commerce, like this is almost common knowledge or common sense at this point. I think what's the difference is investing the amount of time that it takes to find the right people to delegate to, and investing the money that it takes to pay those people to do their job the right way. I was always sort of averse to delegating. I'm like, okay, but they can't do this. Like, I can spend 10 hours showing, but they've shown me nothing that tells me that they can do this part of my job that I do like adequately. Well, I think that was ultimately my fault because I didn't invest or see the bigger picture enough to hire and surround myself with the right types of people. Now, right now, as I'm sort of trying to figure out specifically how I'm scaling couch.com, I want to go I'm trying to find the best people that know things that I truly have no idea about, and have them fill gaps that, I probably could fill if I tried hard enough. But, I'm looking for a content marketing, I still use that term, content marketing SEO guru partner to be a partner of mine now. I've taken it to where, we're seeing some growth, but I need someone to help take it to the next level. I think using other people to help you is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A lesson I feel like I am still learning. And will continue to learn, no doubt, through the next 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
I might get there. I don't know. I just don't know. Alex, listen. We have this new segment, this new slot, which we at the moment we're calling Ask Matt. At some point, I will use the beautiful AI and come up with a better name for it. I've just not had a chance. This is where you get to ask me a question, but I answer it on social media. So if you could ask me one question that I would answer, what would that question be, good sir?
Well, you mentioned exiting a number of companies, and I knew that about you already, and I think we already discussed it a little bit about of how one positions himself to do something more, or do something greater, and use their former experience as a springboard or catapult to the next level. What do you feel like drives you forward after exits? What is it personally about you, and how maybe there's a relatable sort of anecdote or lesson or idea or concept that the listeners would appreciate? What is your driving force? I mean, why are you not sitting on a beach right now somewhere?
Very good question. I will answer that on social media, of course. Part of the answer, sneak preview, I just enjoy talking to people like your good self. Why would I not want to do that? It's been quite fun. Alex, listen, genuinely loved the conversation. It has really been good fun, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing the stories, man. It's been really great to meet you. If people want to reach out, if they want to find out more about you, obviously couch.com is sort of self-explanatory, really. But what's the best way to do that?
I'm a very communicative person. If you can't tell, I'm a big talker. So I'm very open to anyone reaching out to me on LinkedIn. I'm incredibly easy to find. alex@couch.com. And my email address is alex@couch.com. So I'm very happy to hear from anyone who has a question, an idea, a thought, some feedback, an opportunity, anything and all. I have a big inbox, but I get back to every single person that ever reaches out to me. So I'm not at the level where I can't do that anymore. So I love hearing from people, and I love talking to people, just like you said. So please reach out.
Fantastic. We will, of course, put all of that information in the show notes as well, because why would we not, right? But Alex, listen, man, it has been an absolute pleasure, an absolute joy. I've laughed a lot, which is always a good sign. So thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you for the wireless headphones that clean your ears idea. Genuinely appreciate that. There are people listening to this podcast going, what are you talking about?
Well, look, there's nothing out there like it, Matt. You know that.
Yeah, there will be soon. I just... Oh, absolutely brilliant. But genuine, man, thanks for coming on. You are an absolute legend, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Same to you, sir.
Well, there you have it. What a great conversation. Huge thanks again to Alex for joining me today. Now, be sure to follow the e-commerce podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, because, of course, we've got some more great conversations lined up, and I don't want you to miss any of them. And in case no one has told you yet today, let me be the first. You are awesome. Yes, you are. Created awesome. It's just a burden you have to bear. Alex has to bear it. I've got to bear it. You've got to bear it as well. Now, the e-commerce podcast is produced by PodJunction. You can find our entire archive of episodes on your favorite podcast app. The team, the beautiful, legendary team that makes this show possible is Sadaf Bainon and Tanya Hutzlak. Our theme music was written by Josh Edmundson. And as I mentioned, if you would like to read the transcript or show notes, head over to the website ecommercepodcast.net, where instantly you can sign up for the weekly newsletter. I'll be telling you more about the changes to the newsletter coming up. So if you subscribe to the show, you'll find out more about them. Or if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll also find out about them. So just go check that out. But that's it from me. That's it from Alex. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic week wherever you are in the world. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.